Hi, I'm Leo. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Millimetric Analytics. We're a startup based in Shoreditch. And what we do is ultimately, as it says, automated and actionable anomaly detection. And first and foremost, kind of want to give you guys a bit of a background about, why did we choose to do anomaly detection? And ultimately, what we see is that right now, the current landscape of the digital marketing and e-commerce world, at least when it pertains to analytics, is there's hundreds of tools being used. We have aggregators such as Microsoft Excel, dashboards, visualization tools where people are spending their days ultimately looking at charts, graphs, and obviously trying to derive insights from them. And so what we ultimately saw is that when you're doing any form of analysis, whether it's number-based or visualization tools, etc., what you're actually looking for to a certain extent are anomalies, and I'm going to explain how. So if you're looking at a chart or graph and you want to spot something that's better than the norm, right? Something, let's say revenue went up 8% more than expected yesterday, it's a positive anomaly, right? If business is going bad, costs are going up or revenue is going down, that's a negative anomaly. And if you want to make sure that everything is okay and smooth sailing, your business is absent of any type of anomaly. So what we started understanding is that businesses today have to deal with a lot of data, right? So simply just looking at very simple level 1 combinations of dimensions, metrics, and segments, you quickly see that your average website, your average digital website, has to look at over 75,000 combinations just to make sure, hey, this ship is sailing smoothly, right? And so if you try to do this with manpower, obviously the scalability is a little bit difficult. And so what we ultimately decided to do is say, okay, well, if we can't do this with people, let's try to do this with machines. Let's try to have create an algorithm that ultimately runs relationships within your data 24 hours a day and keeps you alerted if anything happens outside of the norm, right? And so I just want to give a couple of examples as to how this is applied. So this is kind of your simple, Google Analytics, cookie cutter, average page load time graph, right? And as you can see, the insights given aren't tremendous, right? And if you take a look at just this is the kind of the main pages, and if you look at the site average, you're looking at an average page load time of around 7.4 seconds, sorry. And the main pages are operating great, right? They're below the average. And that's the problem. The problem is that when you look at aggregated data and you look at high-level metrics, it ultimately prevents you from digging deeper because everything looks fine. You're seeing a bunch of green bars, right? But and this is the argument where we say, no, that's not the case. Because when you look back and you start understanding that, okay, when you look at an average, everything's okay. But when you really are running relationships consistently and you're looking at this day by day, hour by hour, second by second, you actually see that, no, that's not the case. Your average page load time for your cart page, which was actually one of your best performing pages, actually shot up from around 2.5 seconds to 10 seconds. Now the question is, on average, yeah, everything's fine there. But what happened to those maybe 10 customers that were there and had something in their cart, and because of your basic site optimization issues, they left? And so it starts becoming a game of who can diagnose the problem quicker. Because as long as it's there, you're going to have a small leak in your funnel just leaving constantly. And so when you're able to do this in a way where you don't have to sift through data, but rather have the anomalies fed to you, you can take action a lot quicker. And the way we're able to do this is not only by alerting you. So if you see this funnel in the back, ultimately what that is our algorithm from your historical data saying, okay, this is what's normal for this company. And so the moment it steps out of it, we flag it as an anomaly and we give you an alert. Now the idea is, the part that I find cool about this technology is not only the fact of alerts, right? You have Google Alerts for that. It's nothing special. But not only are we able to tell you the anomaly itself, we're actually able to give you the root cause. Because since you're running relationships, you're able to see what underperformed to cause this issue. So now this actually changes the way businesses are going to be working within themselves, because obviously as I'm sure you guys know better than I do, to operate a proper e-commerce business, tons of departments have to be collaborating together very well. And so this is a technical issue, right? I mean, if a digital marketer saw this, he'd be like, okay, that's cool, but let's forward this to the guys who can actually do something about this, right? So when you can give them the alert with the root cause saying, hey, it was at this page, this is what happened, IT and the developers can recreate the problem really quickly and take action and fix it, and it's done. And now those guys who left your site aren't going to be leaving anymore because they're not going to think that the page froze. Just again, to really highlight the point of why charts and graphs are really tricky is, I mean, how much insight can you derive from this graph right here, right? It's the bounce rate, which is awesome. You've been at 52% consistently for the past couple months. But again, this is just a really blown out example of what aggregated data does to us, right? So let's again take a look. And when you're actually looking at bounce rate from a ground level, from a granular level, and you're looking at it from a source medium level, you can start realizing that, well, people who typed in your address, who came in from direct none, well, they actually bounced a lot more than your average. And so the ability to do this, which is extremely difficult to do with manpower simply because of seasonality, standard deviations, regressions, hold winters, etc., you're able to really take advantage of something, and we like to look at it as kind of the industrial revolution for data metrics. So what I ultimately wanted to show you guys first and foremost are the building blocks, right? The anomalies. So we're talking about a new data point. We're throwing out all the nominal data and we're saying, listen, let's talk about what's outside of the norm, what's above the norm, what's below the norm, right? But ultimately, it's what you build with this data. So what we realize we can do with this is we can create a multiplicative bridge where you can actually look at the impact directly as pertains to your revenue. Because obviously, revenue is transaction times average order value. So what we did is we Dupont analysised it and broke it down. So now you can look at it in terms of users, session divided by users, which is frequency, conversion rate, and then you have your average order value, which is average quantity over price, right? So when you're as a business now, instead of me telling you, hey man, your bounce rate went down for campaign XYZ, okay, great to know. How does this impact my revenue? Well, you're able to see the change in your revenue, and obviously we have a date range here. I didn't want to get too salesy on the issue, but it kind of just explained the mentality. You can see the change in revenue. And the problem with, I feel like with businesses today, when you're looking at high-level metrics, you're looking at it in terms of, oh, well, if I showed you that revenue was up 10%, how likely would you be to dig super deep into your metrics? You wouldn't be. You'd be like, okay, it's okay. You'd probably look at some other high-level stuff, but you wouldn't aim, it's not in our nature to look for a problem when the main thing you're looking at is okay. But the problem is this, is that revenue may be up 10%. Your users may have been down 20%, but your conversion rate might have shot up 30%. Right? So ultimately, what we're trying to say is that when you look at things this way, you can do less of the bad and more of the good. And how are you going to do that? Well, if you can see, for example, in this case, conversion rate's been underperforming, right? And when you click on conversion rate, you're going to see the anomalies, you're going to see the opportunities to improve, and then you can just take action. And you just did something in 5 minutes that actually would take a team of data-centric people a couple hours at least to do it. And so I have a couple use cases I also want to run by you to kind of, show what it actually does for businesses. I have some two different cases. So one is Google Ads keyword monitoring. One of the biggest problems with businesses that are selling, a wide range of products with a lot of SKUs is you have tons of campaigns, right? Because you're going to be bidding on different keywords, especially if you're a multi-brand retailer, right? And so first and foremost, this is actually from a client of ours, but since we kind of unearthed the company issues, we're not really allowed to talk about the brand, but they're a multi-brand retailer, and first and foremost, what they're doing is they have tons of campaigns, hundreds of campaigns, and within that you have tens of ad groups, each one you're bidding on at least 50 keywords, right? And the long tail keywords are actually what's going to be differentiating you today, right? So just to take an example, you're a barista, you're selling coffee, right? If you bid on the word coffee, how far are you going to get, right? But the moment you start taking advantage of long tail keywords, organic coffee, Sumatra, etc., put together, you're actually going to differentiate yourself in the market and actually get that traffic that really converts. But the problem with that is that it's extremely difficult to track. The reason is because Google Ads tracks your average position for everything, but the problem is you need to have someone behind the computer looking to see where your ad is. But what we realized is your ad dropping a rank is an anomaly, right? So we automatically, since you have the tracking code in your website and you're feeding that information to Google Analytics or Facebook Ads or any other integrations we have, we're able to run anomaly detection on every single keyword you have. So what this leads you to do is never skip a beat in your performance. And so as a result, what you're doing is, first and foremost, we're giving you the root cause of the problem. We're telling you, hey, it's this keyword in this ad campaign and this ad group, which for anyone who's tried to do analysis through campaigns knows how long it takes to find that. And not only that, as soon as we're giving that, you're able to use your resources and use this manpower that's going to be spent doing, aimless monitoring to other things, right? And ultimately that's where we believe the value added is. So that's one case study, and the next one is actually, to be honest, one I didn't think actually existed, but we saw from one of our clients, agency fraud. So today, more and more businesses are working with digital marketing agencies. You have no choice because everybody's not a Google expert. You need to grow out your business. But the problem with that is that you have to understand that the budget you give them is their revenue. And if you're a smart guy, if you're a smart digital marketing agency head, you're going to say, well, I need to give this guy the best service with the least amount of people so I can make money. And that, my dear friends, is an incentive clash. You can't pay someone money and say, okay, spend my hard-earned dollars as well as you can with as little people as possible. There's no one who would say that, right? And lo and behold, we actually started understanding why we were able to pick this up. Because today, even if you're talking about the enterprise level clients, you're talking about the Unilevers, the Procter & Gambles, even they have weekly meetings, aggregated data, right? So you get together with the digital marketing team, they're telling you, hey, we spent your $30,000 this week and we brought you $100,000 in revenue. Great, right? Someone who wouldn't have to think, oh, that's amazing. Is it though? Could he have done that with $25,000? Could he have done that with $20,000? You'll never know because he's going to spend that budget sure as you're born. Like he's definitely going to spend that budget. And so what we saw is when one of our clients plugged in their data with us, they started seeing hockey sticks, CPC, just giving anomalies across the board at the end of the month. And so we had a meeting with the digital marketing agency and the guys themselves. And we first and foremost asked them, how's everything going? They're saying, oh, it's great. We're tripling the revenues, blah, 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 blah. Using these, metrics that we're giving, our reach is like this, our impressions are like this, and it's like, what does that really mean, right? And so what we ultimately saw, which we're able to do now with anomaly detection, is say, hey, this guy was already on the top position. Why did you jack up his CPC? It made no difference in his changes. And so this is an aspect of the business, to be honest, that I didn't think that people would be able to see. But when you give someone a tool to see everything better than the agency they're working on, you're able to ask pertinent questions. And ultimately what that led to is an agency that's thinking about you and not themselves. Because like it is in all human nature, people operate better when they know they're being monitored. But right now, your marketing dollars are one of your biggest costs. And there is not a single thing that you own as a tool that can monitor that money. You have Norton antivirus for your laptop, and you're telling me that you don't have, a monitoring machine or tool for someone who's running probably 30% of your yearly budget. And that's all I had to say about us. I'm very open to questions, but thank you for your time.
It's Moneyball, is it? It's Moneyball for...
Ultimately, it is Moneyball for metrics, right? Because the historical story about how this all came to be is that the co-founders, one had an e-commerce website and one was a digital marketer. And Jack, who owns the e-commerce website, is very mathematically gifted. And he started asking the digital marketing, he said, hey man, why did you miss this metric? Why did you miss that? And they started understanding that there's no way out of this. You have to use a machine. It's the same thing as the Industrial Revolution for anything. since when are we using 1,000 people to do something that a machine can do in 20 minutes, right? And that's ultimately what we realize we can do. We can work with agencies and say, hey, use us, and you can actually deliver that performance with less people, or you want to fight against us, and we'll give every company in the world this technology, which is, still relatively new in the e-commerce and digital marketing. I would say that our competitors in the space are mostly solution sellers, enterprise sellers. We're currently the only company who are doing this with quick onboarding in that sense. So it takes 3 to 7 minutes. So.
3 to 7 minutes to onboard?
Yeah. We crawled through about 90 million sessions of data in about 9 minutes. Yeah, I mean, that's ultimately the differentiating factor, that we really focused on being able to crawl through data extremely quickly. That onboarding is really quick. We're pre-integrated with Google, so you basically just grant permissions. You don't even have to no coding at all.
And how do you monetize it?
How do I monetize it? Well, I monetize it by selling it monthly. And the argument I make is, well, I'm giving you the power of 1,000 analysts for the price of, depending on we price it according to your average monthly sessions. So if you're, Michelle down the street just selling socks and you have less than 250K sessions a month and you're using only analytics, it's $99 a month. Okay. But if you're Sainsbury's jacked up, with everything, it could go up to $5,000 a month as well. So it's flexible pricing, and we also have an API where we can actually run anomaly detection agnostic of dimensions and metrics. So if you're saying, hey, Leo, this is important for me, this information is in my database is important, and I need to know anomaly detection, we have fully customized solutions for that as well.
So what are you guys using for the underlying infrastructure?
In terms of technologically?
Yeah, so is it like deep learning or AI?
Yeah, so the way we started off initially, so I'll kind of go down that story, is we first started with obviously statistical models, so Holt Winters, regression, etc. And then we slowly added in the machine learning aspect for exponential smoothing, etc. And the machine learning is a part that we're obviously going forward with Python constantly going at. And so we have a team of data scientists right now. Their sole job is not only, just to give you guys a taste of the future, I guess, is not only to find the anomaly, tell you where it is, but actually fix it for you automatically. So the idea is that, for example, with Google Ads, right? So you found the campaign that's messed up, or you found the campaign that's actually operating better, positive or negative anomalies. No, I feel like anomaly has a negative connotation. When we find the anomaly, we'll be able to actually adjust your bids for you with, for example, Google Partner APIs, etc. And that's where the machine learning is going to come in. It's kind of close loop the whole situation. So we have a machine learning infrastructure in place, but for me to say that it's fully neural, we still have a bit of time for that.